Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be painting a Mechanicum tech piece from start to finish. But first of all I want to say a huge thank you to my YouTube channel sponsors Goblin Gaming, who sent me the miniature 8 for review. If you check the description box down below, you'll find a link to their web store where you can check them out. And this direct link helps my channel, so if you do purchase anything, please use the link in the description box provided. Okay guys, as always with my videos, they're very long, so go grab yourself a nice hot drink or maybe a nice ice cold beer and we'll get started. After building the miniature, it's time to start priming. I prime the miniature using Alclad's white primer. It's important to note guys that I've got my spray booth turned on and I'm also wearing a mask. This is very harmful if inhaled, so please make sure you're in a well ventilated area and you're wearing a mask. The Alclad white primer goes down super thin and really smooth. I'm priming here at 20 psi. You'll also notice that I'm changing the angle of the miniature to make sure that the primer goes into all the nooks and crannies in all the different angles. Now I'm going to start to pre-shade, and instead of using black I'm actually going to use a mahogany colour. Here I'm concentrating on working the mahogany from vallejo model air into all the nooks and crannies of the cloak that the tech priest is wearing. I'm also making sure that extremely underneath his chest area is completely covered in the mahogany colour. Here I'm coming in with Game Air Dead White on all the top surfaces of the cloak, so all the tops of all the folds are being repainted in white, where I went a little bit over the top with a mahogany colour. Now I'm going to be painting bloody red over the cloak and leaving behind some of the mahogany in the recesses. Now I'm going to be using Games Workshop's base colour Jacaro Orange, and I've thinned this down with some water, so about 1:1 with water, basically getting the paint to the consistency of milk. So it might have been a little bit more water than that, but as long as the paint's the consistency of a creamy milky texture, you've thinned it down to the correct ratio. You can see that it's really making the red cloak look orange, which is an effect that I don't want, but I'm actually using the orange colour to actually then highlight it again with another reddish tone that will dull down the orange, but it will still leave a nice bright highlight. Now I'm using Games Workshop's Evil Sun's Red, and you can see that that's going to go over the orange, but it's going to leave a really nice highlight behind. My camera doesn't pick up the subtleties in the different colours of red very well, but in your hand you can see the different tones of red where the extreme highlights are on the front tops of all the pleats in the cloak. Now I'm adding Games Workshop's Wild Rider Red just to the extreme top surfaces of all of the red cloak. To add another extra layer of depth, I'm going to be washing Caribou Crimson into all the creases. Now it's time to start painting the metallics. I'll start off by using Dark Star's Molten Metal Black and Bronze. This is a lovely bronze tone and it's quite dark, and it leaves great scope for highlighting afterwards with a copper colour, and then maybe even coming back in with an extreme hard edge highlight of brass. All the areas that I want to have a steel look to them are going to be painted using Vallejo Game Air Chainmail Silver. The staff is painted using Games Workshop Screamer Pink. All the tubing and piping are painted using Vallejo Game Air Black. All the black and bronze gets a wash with Agrax Earthshade, and after that dries I come back in with a second layer of Agrax Earthshade, so the miniature is going to get 2 coats of the wash. Null is painted onto all the chainmail silver areas, and again the miniature is going to get 2 coats of the wash, so I allow the miniature to dry for about 15 to 20 minutes, or I use my hairdryer, which slows down the drying time considerably, and then I'll come back in with another wash of Norn oil. Here you can see what the miniature looks like after having 2 coats of Agrax Earthshade and Norn oil. Here I'm dry brushing Vallejo Game Air Silver onto all the chainmail silver areas, and I'm being careful to make sure that I only get the dry brushing on all of the chainmail silver areas and make sure I don't get any on the cloak. Now I'm going to be dry brushing copper on all the areas that were painted in black and bronze. Early on I washed the staff in Norn oil. After the Norn oil had dried, I'm dry brushing Vallejo Game Colour Warlord Purple. Vallejo Game Colour is painted onto the canisters on the top of the Tech Priest. Now I'm going to airbrush a Scorpina green onto the canisters. This requires a very fine hand, so practice on some paper first of all, or on some old models until you got used to spraying really tight areas with your airbrush. Now I'm washing an Estonian camo shade into all of the recesses of the canisters, which will act as a really nice shading for where we've added the OSL highlights. The skulls that are on the top of the backpack and also on the staff that he's holding are painted with Dark Star's Molten Metal Royal Gold. Some of the piping and also the lenses are painted using Calidor Sky from Games Workshop. Games Workshop's Morn Fang Brown is then painted on all of the base. I normally thin down my colours, but as the base has no texture at all, I can paint straight from the pot without worrying about thinning down the paint. Now I'm going to be painting the base using Martian Iron Earth from Games Workshop. Now this is a technical paint and it has a special ability where it cracks and makes the earth look cracked and crumbly, which is a really cool effect. But it's really important to note, guys, that you have to place this down in a specific way. If it's too thin, the cracks will be completely minuscule and you won't get the effect of the Martian Iron Earth. But if you place it down too thick, the cracks will be absolutely huge and they'll start to peel away from the base, which will look absolutely terrible. So if you have a look at the thickness that I'm using here, try and follow that thickness and you should get some really nice looking cracks. Also guys, practice on some spare bases before you actually attempt to paint your expensive miniature, and then you'll get a good idea of what this Martian Iron Earth will look like depending on how thick you place it on the base. Here I'm using Vallejo Game Air Black to paint the base, and if you notice, I don't paint the base with the front of my brush, I use the side of my brush. That's to stop me getting any of the black paint on that lovely Iron Earth that we've just painted. And as you can see, the cracks in that Martian Iron Earth look absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love this GW technical paint and I will be using it more in the future. And here we have our finished tech priest. I think he turned out really well, guys, and I absolutely love that Games Workshop technical paint, Martian Iron Earth, and I highly recommend you picking it up if you want that really arid looking Martian Earth effect. The tech priest is going to be given away as prize support for my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to win this tech priest, please pledge on my Patreon page from as little as $1 a month to be within a chance of winning it. And please hit the like button if you've enjoyed the video, guys. Don't forget to share this amongst friends, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the tech priest. I really appreciate it when you leave a comment, guys. It does make my day. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.